All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Makagadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. On to those like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. Let me a quick show to the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. No one of your brothers to edify. Obviously, I'm going to be speaking about this particular movie. No spoilers. Don't need to, because we already know. You know, certain movies are just self-explanatory. You know, like some people don't like things spoiled to them, especially like an action movie. You just tell them like people are gonna die. You know, like John Wick when it came out. Like don't spoil it for me. It's like a lot of people die. You know, but in particular this film. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start with the scripture. I'm thinking of Nahum 3:4. It says, because of the multitude of thy whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mystery of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and the families through her witchcraft. And the reason why I bring this particular verse out is because of the simple fact is this movie, which is not what you think it is, but is what you think it is. Now, what do I mean by that? This particular movie right here is not an action-packed movie. It's right mid, you would say mid beginning. All right, so something that took place, and since it took place many events ago, then this is the story that they're telling you. They're telling you a story of a particular point of view. All right. So this particular point of view is from certain side characters. So you're not knowing what caused this event to take place. You're not caused, and you don't know the outcome of it. So you right smack dab in the middle. Now, I stated this before in one of my videos, maybe several videos. Now, the whole thing right now is predictive programming. Now, predictive programming is what it is. They're predicting something that they want to take place, but also simultaneously are putting thoughts in people's minds for a certain reaction. A lot of these movies are intertwined together. So the whole entire Purge series is intertwined. All right. When we as the audience was told about the Purge, from a point of view. That point of view of the Purge was already established. That was the first one. So many movies later, 3 movies later, then they had told us how it was established, but they didn't tell us why it was established. They give you hints and saying because of overpopulation and poverty and so forth, and they went straight attack what they deem as the cause of the problem, which is Jake, which are you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So the whole entire Purge series is intertwined. The movie The World Left Behind, that was another movie, which it was mid, but it was right beginning of something that was taking place. So technically, this movie is the outcome of that previous movie. These are the traits, and you know Hollywood, which is Hollywood, right, is what dictates everybody's mind. So they're programming the people. This is why a lot of people was offended by this film, and brothers are saying that a lot of Edomites walked out of the theater because of the fact is it was too realistic for them, And they didn't want to feed into that. But what would cause such a thing? When the scriptures, number one, would tell you. All right, the scriptures would give you a key point why these things is going to happen. And we've been saying these things was going to happen. All right, we've been saying that there's going to be a point where people turn on one another. All right, real quick. And it's, scriptures speak for itself. Isaiah 19 and 2 to the point. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. So I'm going to go basic stuff. The word said is set, right? So the Most High himself said that he will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And we know this particular chapter is not talking about Egypt. It's talking about America. Egypt is America in this particular verse, this chapter. All right. And it says set. The Hebrew word is shakal or shakar or sakar. To hedge, fence about, shut in. To block, overshadow, screen, stop the approach, shut off, cover. All right. The key thing to this would be the hedge or fence about. All right, shut in. So what is the Lord shutting in? He's shutting in the Americans, which is the everyday citizen. He's shutting you in. There was a video circulating of somebody, I guess it was teasing somebody for building up the wall, and said, yeah, your government has to build up the wall. And he said, yeah, we're not building a wall for us, we're building a wall for you, to keep you inside. So the Lord is shutting in. And when you shut people in a certain situation and they can't escape, then it's not good. It says, the Lord says, I shall set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone. So everybody is going to be set up, and they're going to be fighting one another. It says against everyone against his brother. So it's literal. You have siblings that move to different states, and they might have a difference, just like in that film. The film was based upon certain states that left the Union, which is the United States, and took matters into their own hands, which is 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. All right, and it says, and city against city, which is talking literally, because America is nothing but a giant city of cities. So certain states, they're not just not states. They cities. That's why the average American is what? American citizen. So city dweller. Despite you may live in a rural place, a place of woods and so forth, you're still considered a citizen. All right. So city against city. So you're gonna have different states going on against one another. This is not far-fetched anymore. We're in an election year. And I was watching somebody, he said that basically the director, he wanted to put this movie out. And putting this movie out was not by accident. Once again, Purge. The second Purge movie was called Election Year. All right. Then they never explained. They just seen that there was a difference in parties and the people was trying to take away the purge. But the key was election year. We in an election year, right? And kingdom against kingdom, literally. All right. So right now, Iran and Israel having a physical ought towards one another. So the Lord is causing all these things to happen. But once again, why would cause these things to happen? I'm not sorry. I already answered the question. The Lord's doing it. But let's get into detail. 2nd Ezra 15. Matter of fact, 2nd Ezra 6 and 26, I believe. Sorry. 2nd Ezra 6 and 24. In that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear of those that dwell therein. So friends are going to be fighting against one another. And Yahushua gave us a clue. All right, real quick. The root cause of the matter, which we know the Yahushua is the one that's directing it. But how Yahushua is directing? Because all things are under his hands. So he's the one that's setting the world on fire, so to speak. He's the great divider. All right. The Lord is, he said he'd come not send peace on earth, but division. All right. But the sword. He's the one that's bringing division, the sword, everything. So it says, Matthew 24:12, it says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So what is iniquity? Sin. But sin multiplied. And America is nothing but the most sinfulest nation on the planet Earth. Everybody has everybody has an art. There's never resolved a matter. They take matters into their own head. Selfishness, pride, you name it. The scripture says in 2 Ezra 8:50, matter of fact, get that real quick. 2 Ezra 8, verse 50, it says, for the great miseries shall be done to them that dwell in the latter time, shall dwell in the world, because they walked in pride. And this is the most prideful nation on planet Earth. So because of this sin of pride, the Lord is using that, plus all the other sins that's been amped up. All right. And people freely, adulteries all-time high. Sodomies are all-time high. Bestiality, and everything that you could think of, worshiping different gods. So these are the root cause of this great division, this great judgment, okay? And which is going to lead to what? It's going to lead to a war amongst the people. All right? 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So woe meaning destruction. For the sword and destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So sword, it is the modern day sword, and the modern day sword is guns. All right? No longer somebody has to come up and stab somebody. Somebody can actually shoot from a distance, and you not knowing where it's coming from, and it could delete you. We living in that world. All right? So people is going to have swords in their hand. It says, and it shall be sedition among men. For there shall be sedition among men. So people are not going to take orders. This is where the government is going to fail. All right? It says, and invade one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. The course of their action shall stand in their power. So people is going to take their judgment into their own power. And they showed you in that film. All right. A lot of these films has been done already or are going to be done. So they already know if you remove certain things to people, you take away their freedom, you take away something else, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, people is going to be animalistic. That's what we had in the film Batman Dark Knight, I believe, with the Joker. He said, if you keep pushing people, they will end up being a certain way. Now, when you analyze what he said, which was poetry, and when you truly analyze what the Joker character, because he was the agent of chaos, okay, and Batman's whole thing is people they're good, they won't do the crazy things. So what we're seeing of today, no matter how bad it gets, inflation gets, crime is going on all-time high, rent's high, and so forth, and the governments keep taking more power. The people are still not budging. They are docile. All right. So what these devils are tending to do what they've been doing in this, like a film like this and many other films, is plant that seed in the minds of the people. In other words, they programming you, they pushing you to go and take matters into your own hands. All right? That's what they're doing. Even in the film, I'll say this much. They asked the other people, why are you doing what you're doing? And said, well, it's quite simple. They're trying to kill us, and we're trying to survive. So that describes everything. So people are going to fight, and they're going to fight just for survival. All right? One side is going to try to demolish the other side. It says, verse 17, a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. And that's what martial law. That was shown in the film. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. So pride is a main caveat to bring in this war. The Lord is using certain particular human emotions that should be kept in a bay, and he's using that to ignite something into people. All right? Pride also, that's what the Lord uses. He used pride against man. Pride is not made for man. Okay? But we live in a society where they keep pushing everybody to do the unthinkable. It says, verse 19, and a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. So the root cause is going to be because of the times that people are going to be in, when the basic fundamental things is no longer going to be fundamental anymore. It's going to be hard to retrieve water. People take water for granted. All right? People literally take water for granted. And because you take something like that for granted, once it's gone, you're going to be wishing that you had it. They show you in the book of Eli, and they show you in this film. All right? Potable water. That you wash your hands, and some people just spit water out because they can. Once that's gone, you're dealing with a whole nother thing. So it's going to be a great tribulation. And this great tribulation is what the government is going to cause, all right, to push their citizens to the break of breaking them. All right, that is the root cause of what this thing is going to be about. It's about the rulers breaking you. All right, them breaking you and then telling you, basically, don't do nothing, rely on us, but go ahead and do what you have to do. So these are predictive programming films to push the people, and it's gonna work, because the atmosphere is gonna overtake everything. And that atmosphere is when there is a lack of bread, which is gonna lead to a famine. And you know where the food is gonna be at. And you know where the food is gonna be at, you're gonna take matters into your own hand. And society is this greedy, filthy society. Everybody is trying to live beyond their means. And that's why a lot of people complain about the American dream. The American dream has been dead. And it was never for the average citizen. It was for the people to chase. And you chasing the average person, average man, woman, and child that's out there chasing. And you just making the rich remain richer just because you're chasing. So, yeah, this is a good film to watch. Obviously, it doesn't tell you what was the root cause, but it gives you an idea what the root cause that started. And we don't know what's going to happen after that. It was just one point of view. But this is all part of their witchcraft. They are literally telling the citizens of today, this is what you have to do when the time comes. This is what's going to happen. All right. And it was not, at that time in the film, it wasn't even that bad. So that's what that tells us as the audience, you know, this is a bad situation, but it's not that bad, because there's gonna be phases into everything. There is gonna be phases when it comes to when this Jacob's trouble really takes places. All right, and ultimately, we know some point of view. Everybody's gonna be ousted into the wilderness. This is why a lot of trains was derailing, poisoning the water, and they're gonna kick people out of the major cities, and whoever survived these things, once they starve them out, once things don't go right, they going to have you go back into those cities, and once you go back into the cities, you're gonna have to have the RFID microchip. One way or another, it's gonna come full circle. There's gonna be many casualties of war, like the scripture says, and because of that, things are not gonna be looking good. So this is a good film to watch. It's just, I believe, I would say the mid-beginning, because they actually give a date. Not a date, but they give a time frame when it started, but never explained, per se. So with that, I hope your brothers edify. Shalom to the elect of the nations. Shalom.